আচ্ছা, আমরা অলরেডি লাইভ রয়েছি। সাউন্ড আসছে লাইভে?
বলে দিয়েছি স্টুডেন্টদের পাঠিয়ে দিবি এক্ষুনি।
আচ্ছা, আজকে প্রোগ্রামটা আমরা শুরু করি। আচ্ছা, তো আজকে অনেকদিন পর আমাদের আইআইসির ওয়েবিনার হচ্ছে। প্রথমেই আমরা ওয়েলকাম করে নিই ডক্টর অর্জজ্যোতি গোস্বামী, প্রফেসর অফ এনআইটি দুর্গাপুর। আজকের টপিকটা উনি বলবেন অন ডিজাইন থিঙ্কিং, ক্রিটিক্যাল থিঙ্কিং অ্যান্ড ইনোভেটিভ ডিজাইন. So a brief description about introduction to our speaker. Dr. Arjyajoti Goswami has completed his PhD, his doctorate in mechanical engineering from IIT Delhi, his MTech in production engineering from Delhi Technical University and BTech from Ajay Kumar Garg Engineering College. His research interests are micro-nano manufacturing, simulation of nanostructure surfaces, hot embossing of polymers, and many more. He is currently associated with 2 government-funded projects under DST and NIT Durgapur. He has more than 8 international journals and very reputed research articles. So, again, I say about the today's topic. Today's topic is on design thinking, innovation, innovative design, and critical thinking. So, from behalf of Sri Ramakrishna Institute of Science and Technology, we welcome Sir towards our students and motivating our students on the path of innovation and entrepreneurship. Sir, can you hear me?
Yeah. Yes. Thank you. Thank you,
Sir,
sir.
I hand over the platform
for the good introduction
to you.
And
thank you, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Professor Abhinandan Sarkar, for this lovely introduction. And I can see students are sitting in lecture hall, and this is a site which we have been missing out since very long. So our college is also opening shortly. Maybe by students are coming from today, in fact, and soon I hope to see them all in class. One interesting thing which I noticed that initially the students, whenever they entered, they preferred sitting at the back. So it does not matter whether the lecture is online or offline. Back bench is always preferable. I don't know why, but still, it is good to see you people back at classroom. And I wished that we could have this session face to face. But anyways, this is better than nothing. So okay, I will share my presentation now. You just let me know if it is visible to you. Okay. So just a second. I have shared my entire screen. Now I have gone on to my presentation and I have put it in full screen mode. Whether it is still visible to you? Can anyone please confirm? Is visible. Okay, thank you. So as the professor already told, today's session is on design thinking, critical thinking, and innovation design. Before I start, sir, how much time do I have? By what time am I supposed to finish this?
an issue, sir. You take your time, sir.
Okay, because okay. So, anyways, I hope I don't drag it out a lot, but okay, we'll take it as it comes. So today's session is on design thinking, critical thinking, and innovation design, and these will be the broad contents which I will be discussing. And let me tell you what is the idea behind this presentation. The idea behind this is, of course, the idea behind this whole program is to enable you for entrepreneurship. And what people have realized, and what you will also agree with, is that before you the entrepreneurship is basically commercializing an idea. So before you go for that actual commercialization, you must have an idea. So generating that idea sometimes is quite difficult, right? We feel that everything is okay around us. Why should we improve, and how can we improve, that kind of thing. So to address these things, there are few approaches, more specifically design thinking and critical thinking. These two things are sort of an approach to enable you to think like that, to to challenge the paradigm, to challenge what is existing, and maybe then come up with a solution. So these are the broad things which we will be discussing. These are the broad things which we will be discussing in our PPT. And sir has told that time is not a limit, but still I will try to wrap it up within 1 hour, and maybe 10-15 minutes question answer session will be there. But if at any point of time you feel that something which I am saying, or something which I am telling is not making sense, you please stop me and let me know. Or if you have any questions that what I am saying is you are not able to understand, that then also you can stop me and then you can tell me. Okay, as you will see in the presentation, this is one of the important things regarding design thinking, that you should keep questioning. So obviously should question. I'm telling you this beforehand so that you guys can feel free to ask questions wherever you find. Okay, one more thing before we formally start. I have made this PPT. This PPT initially I had given in my institute also, and in my lectures also I try to keep the technical content and the fun content kind of balanced. Okay, so do not expect a very hardcore technical PPT. And this I am saying with apologies, because the senior professors may also be here. So if you feel that sometimes this PPT is a bit light on the technical part, it is intentionally so that students do not get bored during this 1 hour or whatever 1.5 hour session. Okay, so in between the PPT we will have references to many popular culture, many movies, many films, series, and everything. And this subject is like that. We have to take inspiration from our day-to-day life. Okay, so now, not building it up further, let me start with it. So before we start about thinking, there is a quotation by René Descartes. René Descartes, all of us know, we have read about Cartesian coordinate geometry, and we know that Cartesian coordinate geometry was named after him because he was the one who invented it. So he was a French mathematician and also a philosopher. Those days, mathematics was. Nowadays, we think mathematics is a very technical field, but if you go to higher mathematics, deeper you go, more creative you have to be. So those days, by default, whoever was a mathematician, he was also a philosopher. So René Descartes, he was also a philosopher, and he was given a question asked by a student of his, maybe, or normal person. That person asked him, "Sir, can you prove that you exist?" Right? This was a very basic question, right? And I do not mean to ask you this question. I don't want to give you an existential crisis. Okay, you don't have to worry about it. So René Descartes listened to that question and he took some time. And after 3 months of thinking, he came up with this quote that yes, I think, therefore I am. As per René Descartes, the ability to question our existence proves that we exist. Okay, so thinking is an integral part of human endeavor, right? Since the beginning of humanity, we have been thinking about how we can improve our life, story regarding Richard Feynman, who was a professor, Nobel Prize winning professor, and one of my favorite scientists, because as a professor told me that I worked in advanced manufacturing during my PhD. So I worked in nano manufacturing. So Professor Richard Feynman was the pioneer of the nanotechnology field. So he used to say, how do you solve a problem? You write down the problem, you think very, very hard, and then you write down the solution, right? So for him, for Professor Richard Feynman, thinking was a way to solve the problem. For René Descartes, thinking was a way to show that we exist. Okay. 2 centuries later, Professor Feynman said, thinking is a way we can solve this problem. Okay. Design thinking and critical thinking, these are relatively new concepts. Okay, the names given to these things are relatively new, but that does not mean that we have not been doing it till today, right? If I tell you guys about design thinking today, it does not mean that you guys have not been doing it. You may have been doing it without realizing it. We will see few examples when we have, applied our logic, realizing, and how you can consciously do it. Unconsciously, subconsciously, you may have been doing it. Okay. So before going into the thinking, let us see the briefly about the organ which helps us to think. So the cerebrum, or the brain in normal term, is the organ which is responsible for the thinking. All of us know about this. There is a left hemisphere in our brain, there is a right hemisphere. The left part of our brain, it is more like a technical and mathematical and systematic part. It checks everything. It checks the format, right? It checks the fonts, it checks the geometry, it checks the system, checks the technique which is involved, everything. The right part of the brain, it is related to the soft skills. It checks the imagination, it controls the creativity, it helps you generate emotions, it helps you recognize shapes, recognize patterns, and everything. Okay. In an ideal person, the left brain and the right brain, they should work in tandem, right? For example, if you the sentences which I am speaking right now, the left portion of my brain is checking the grammar, okay, because it is a systematic part, and the right portion of my brain, it is checking the tone. It is making sure that I do not come across as an arrogant person, okay, especially because we are having this conversation offline. You cannot see my face, you cannot see my body language, right? So just from my tone of my voice, you may form an opinion about me, right? Unfortunately, we could not meet at this point of time, so we do not have that kind of human interaction, right? Presently, I am just a signal which you are receiving through your screen. Okay, so through my right brain, I am making sure that my tone is, friendly. I want it to be friendly. Okay, I want you guys to feel free to ask questions. Okay, so that is the job of the right brain. In an ideal person, in a normal person, both these parts, they should work in tandem so that we can carry our day-to-day tasks. Whatever tasks we carry out, it has a input from both part of the brain. Okay, for example, if you are dressing up for interview, so your left part of the brain, it will make sure that your clothes are formal, your clothes are pressed and everything. The right part of the brain will make sure that whether those colors will look good on you, whether that particular shoes will look good on you, whether you should wear a watch or not, right? Those kind of things. Okay. So brain is a very interesting part. We are interesting organ of our body. I am not going into that. It is not a biology class, and I am not a biology expert. Okay, but I will focus on to the thinking aspect of the brain, because our session is on design thinking, critical thinking, and innovation design. So what is meant by thinking? Thinking, in terms of basic English, thinking has got many forms, many usages. Thinking can be used as a noun. which basically means you are considering something. For example, I am thinking about getting regular exercise. Okay, that this is one of the usage of thinking. Thinking as another form of noun, it can be an other person's ideas or opinions. Okay, for example, as per my thinking, I should give up unhealthy foods. Or after this lecture, you can tell your friends, as per my thinking, the professor from NIT Durgapur sounded a bit arrogant. Or as per my thinking, the professor today's session was very helpful. Okay, that kind of thing, that kind of usage. Thinking can be used as an adjective also, right? Which says that you are giving something a rational judgment. For example, the decision of enforcing follow-on showed that Steve Waugh was not a thinking man that day. Many of you may be aware that there was a very famous test match at Eden Gardens, and India was playing against Australia. India were playing against Australia, and they played very poorly in the first innings. And Steve Waugh could have enforced the follow-on or could have opted for batting, but Steve Waugh was very arrogant, maybe. So he said that, okay, India, you follow on. And then when India came to bat second innings, VVS Lakshman played a very big innings, and India won the match. So this is the context behind this. The decision of enforcing the follow-on showed that Steve Waugh was not a thinking man. So thinking can be used in many forms. So what is meant by thinking? Okay, how do we think? As I said, you guys have been thinking till today. It's not like after. I'm getting some noise, sir. Can you please mute it? Yeah, thank you. So, as I said, it is not like you guys will start thinking from today onwards, right? You guys have been thinking till now. So, how do you think? Whenever you got a problem or whenever you encounter a situation, you first recognize that. You try to connect it with your previous knowledge or previous experience. For example, suppose you have a situation that your friend Ramesh is getting married. So, you recognize it that, okay, Ramesh is getting married. I need to travel to Ramesh's marriage. Then you remember, next step is remembering. You remember what happened during previous travel. So from your previous experience, you know that if I have to travel, I must book a ticket. Okay. Third thing is reasoning. So remember that I need to book a ticket, and then you reason it out. When shall I go for booking the ticket? I should find out a free time. This much time will be taken. I should have a good internet connection, so on. That we should do it early to avoid last minute rush. I should not postpone it to the last minute, then I may not get a ticket also. Right? Fourth step of thinking is imagining. Okay, once you reason that I will book my ticket at that point of time, the fourth step is imagining that without ticket, travel is not possible. Like you are imagining something. Fifth step is emoting. Emoting means your emotions are coming into picture, right? Which is unwanted part of thinking. The fourth step and the little bit of the fifth step, the emoting step, imagining step. These are unwanted part of thinking, right? We don't want them to come up in our thinking process, because if they enter our thinking process, our thinking is clouded, right? If you then think that if I don't go to Ramesh's marriage, then my friendship will be over and Suresh will be his new best friend. Okay, that is not helpful. We don't want it, right? So while preparing for exam, suppose you guys are preparing for examination, you are reading the syllabus, so you recognize that yes, I need to study for my exam. Then you remember that okay, for studying I should get the notes, I should get the books, I should get a copy, get a calculator, pen, pencil, whatever, right? Then you reason that my exam is on next Wednesday, so this much is the syllabus, so I should start preparation from tonight. Okay, and then you imagine that if I don't prepare, maybe I will fail. But as I said, this is not helpful. We don't want our imagination to run wild, right? Imagination can be helpful if you try to imagine that, okay, let me see previous year's question papers, what kind of questions were asked, and then let me figure out what kind of questions can be asked this year. That imagination is good, okay? But then when emotions come, when you start emoting that if I don't study, I will fail. Oh, if I fail, what will happen? Then I will not get a job. If I don't get a job, my parents will be angry. If my parents are angry, I won't get married. If I don't get married, what will happen to the country? So on, right? So that is the emoting part. That is completely unhelpful. You don't need to go into that. That is not helpful at all. The last part of the thinking is deciding, which is again important. Decide that, okay, let me forget about all these things. I have my notes, have my books. My exam is on next Wednesday. Let me study. Let me book the ticket, for example, for the Ramesh exam. Okay. So this is a generally accepted flowchart for thinking. Okay. Don't feel that this is the only way that we think. Right. This is one of the approaches which is generally accepted by all. That this is how people think. Okay. Now, why are you concerned about thinking? Why do we have a session on thinking? Why do we have classifications of design thinking and critical thinking? Because thinking is a very complex phenomenon. Okay, during thinking, our experiences come into picture, our emotions come into picture, right? And it can be very easily influenced. Many of you could have seen the movie Prestige. Sorry, not Prestige. This DiCaprio movie regarding dreams. Inception, right? So in that, there is a concept that if you can enter the dreams and you can subconsciously give some suggestions, you can alter the thinking, right? Thinking can be very easily influenced, right? Till this moment, you are not thinking about a pink elephant, right? You are thinking about a pink elephant the moment I mentioned the term pink elephant. Now you may not be able to get it out of your head, a pink elephant. So see, very easily thinking can be influenced. If you can understand how do we think, only then we can keep a track how other people think. Okay. And most of our societal relationships, most of our business, most of our social communication is based on thinking out how the other person is thinking, right? For example, when you start studying for the exams, you try to think from the examiner's point of view, what kind of questions he can ask. And if this question he's asking, what kind of answers does he expect? If it is a 10 marks question, you have to write maybe 2 pages. Okay, if it is 5 marks question, during UPTU, I did my BTech from UPTU, we had a saying that if it is a 10 marks question, you write 3 pages. If it's a 5 mark question, you write 2 pages when you know the answer. If you don't know the answer, write 3 pages for 5 marks. Because if you don't know the answer, you write more. Okay. So that, that way you try to think out what the other person is expecting. So that is why, especially in business, okay, because business is this strategy. It is like a game. It is like a chessboard. Okay, you do one move, you see how the other person is going to respond. Based on that, you try to figure out what may be his next move. Then you do your next move and so on. Okay, so thinking is very, very important part of business. And if you have any idea, you want to start a business yourself, you should be aware how you are reacting or how you are thinking about a particular problem, and then how the other person is going to react to it. Okay. So regarding design thinking, when we move to design thinking, so many of you could have seen the movie Jobs. Okay. I hope you guys have seen it. So in that movie, there is a particular scene that Steve Wozniak comes up to Steve Jobs and he shows him his watch, his CRT based watch. Okay, it was called as Nixie watch. So it was very, very cool looking, very nice looking gadget. Okay. So Steve Jobs asked him, Steve Wozniak, okay, how do you change its time? So for changing the time, Wozniak had to remove this dial and use a special type of pin, and then he has to change this time. Because suppose you are traveling from one country to another, you are traveling from India to USA, so there is a time difference of maybe 8 hours. So you have to adjust your watches. So as soon as Wozniak was adjusting the time, Steve Jobs said to him, you are looking like you are going to set off a time bomb. Okay, you are setting timer to a bomb, right? The person who is watching you doing it, he may not realize that this is a watch. This idea, this approach of thinking from the point of view of a person, this is called as design thinking. Whatever solution we are giving, it may be very, very good solution. It may very well work for you. It may very well solve the problem, but you should realize you are designing something for humans and you should think from human point of view. This human-centered approach of thinking is called as design thinking. So you can see this is the Nixie watch, Steve Wozniak's Nixie watch, and this is the Apple's iWatch. And just by looking at it, you can figure out which watch is more acceptable for a general consumer. If you are a Gothic fan, if you like this kind of art, Gothic art, right? Then maybe this is a collector's item, then you can collect it. But for a regular consumer, for a common person, general public, this kind of watch is more marketable. So this is what is meant by design thinking. I'll be discussing about it. Design thinking is a human-centered and collaborative approach to problem solving. Okay, human-centered. As I told you, we are designing something for human. We should look at something from human point of view. Okay, because we are doing it for humans. Okay, it is a collaborative approach because while designing something, we take inputs from a lot of people and then we come up with a solution. I will discuss about the steps in design thinking. Okay, it prioritizes people and prototypes. Okay, and it is a creative, iterative, and it is a practical process. You have to be creative in order to come up with a solution. It is iterative, means you give a solution. It may be acceptable to some person, may not be acceptable to few. Then you come up with another solution, and you keep on doing it till you make it very, very practical and very, very perfect. Okay, so analytical thinking always gives you reliable results. It gives you systematic, organized, and sophisticated ideas. Intuitive thinking gives you valid and creative ideas. Okay, design thinking is a mix of both. It has to be systematic as well as innovative and creative, right? It cannot only be systematic and acceptable to all people. It can not only be creative and still be acceptable. We have to take best from both. Okay, that is design thinking. So design thinking has got few features. First one is called as discoverability. Discoverability means if you are designing a product, if you are designing a solution, just by looking at it, you should be able to figure out what is to be done. For example, for giving this PPT, I came with my laptop. My laptop has got an attached power wire. So just by looking at the power wire, I know which port to connect to the electrical outlet, which side connects with my laptop, and so on. So this is a discoverability design, right? Designed for humans. Earlier, very, very early, Nokia used to run some commercials in which they specifically mentioned the mobiles designed by Nokia, they used to have rounded edges because human beings, they do not like sharp corners. They like rounded edges, which can be very easily kept in pockets also. So that is another human-centered design. Okay. So discoverability has got a very, very common problem. It's a common problem which is seen in doors, right? Many times in doors, we have seen that door has got a push and pull feature. You can either push at the door or you pull at the door. Okay, but many times it is not apparent from the door. We have to write on the door that this side you push, this side you pull. Okay, if you ever come to Durgapur and you go to the Bata showroom, so they have got a much bigger problem. They have got two doors, these two glass panels, and one of the panel they have written push. And if you push it, it does not open. It is fixed. The other panel, there is nothing written that when you push, that one opens. So I thought of pointing out to the person, and my wife told me, why you are getting into it, let us open it and then go inside. So they are not thinking from here, design thinking point of view, right? They have just written push over something and then they have fixed that door. You cannot push it. Okay, so there was a movie by Guy Ritchie, 2000, came out in year 2000. It was called as Snatch. Many of you may have seen it. If not, maybe you can try to arrange it, right? I'm not saying you neglect your studies, right? You should not say, professor from NIT has asked us to see this movie, so we are seeing this movie, but not doing assignments. Don't do that. But when you have time, you can see it. So there is a particular sequence that two people, they go to rob a particular shop, and during that time, they, by mistake, they close the door because it was a safety door. The safety door cannot be opened from the inside. So unfortunately, I cannot play the video over here, maybe some copyright issue. But this snapshot I have taken. So doors are a very common problem. The whole concept of design thinking came into picture because of the problems with doors, right? Again, I know it's a kind of a blanket statement, okay? But it was one of the major driving factors. Doors were a very common problem, whether to push it open or pull it open. Just by looking at the door, we are not able to figure it out. Okay, so back at our home in 2012, we have this particular scene from Gangs of Wasseypur 1, that this door is there and Manoj Vajpayee is kicking it for opening it. Okay, because he is very, very angry, right? But his friend Asgar, he stops him that the door opens from this side. He tells him that the door opens from this side. Okay, so of course this is a cinematic, cinematic margin was there, that Manoj Vajpayee was very angry and he was kicking the door, and Asgar was very pragmatic, very creative, so he opened it. But the solution to these doors should be clearly apparent. Just by looking at it, we should figure out which side the door will open. Okay, that is a genuine problem. Second thing, whenever you are designing a solution, any product, is the feedback. Okay, feedback basically means, for example, at the start of this lecture, when I was speaking, so I wanted to make sure that my voice is audible. So I asked Professor Abhinandan that whether my voice is audible, and he gave me a feedback. Yes, your voice is audible, right? So that is the feedback. Human beings, they like feedback. They want feedback. Without feedback, they feel very unsafe. If I was in a classroom, I won't need a feedback. I can see your faces. Whether am I audible or not, I can figure it out. But over a network, over internet, I have to have this feedback. Okay. Case in point, the cars. There were doors in cars, and you may have noticed that when you close the doors, there is a thump kind of noise. A noise is there, right? Mechanically speaking, the noise in the car doors can be completely avoided. We can make the noise completely zero. One particular car company, they made cars like this, but when people used to close the doors, no sounds. So people used to feel very unsafe. To the manufacturer, what kind of door you have made? ये क्या बना दिए हो? ये दरवाजा बंद कर रहे, पता ही नहीं चल रहा क्या हो रहा है, right? We are not getting any feedback. What is this? So then they intentionally have put the sound in the car doors, because human beings, they like feedback. So if you come up with a solution, you should think from human point of view that my solution should have a feedback also. Okay. So human-centered design, it should have these three features. It should be viable. Viable means the solution should solve that problem, and it should be financially suitable also, right? It should be technically and organizationally feasible. We should be able to, implement that solution, and it should be desirable. People should want it also. Okay. So desirability, feasibility, and viability, when these three things come together, we come up with innovation. So we will come to it again while discussing about innovation, right? One example of design thinking is the Potter's wheel. Potter's wheel is viable. It creates the solution. It is desirable, which means the solution which is made by, which is given by the Potter's wheel, basically different types of utensils, earthen utensils which are made using a Potter's wheel, is desirable by people. People accept it very easily. It is feasible also. Means it does not require a lot of investment on your part. Okay. So this is all about Potter's wheel. Okay, now design thinking methodology. How do you do design thinking? For doing design thinking, first you do research on the market. You discover what the problem is. Then you empathize with it. You see that yes, it is a genuine problem. I should try to solve this problem. Then you define that problem. Exactly what is the problem? What is the problem statement? How do I solve it? Right? You generate ideas for it, ideas for the solution. Then you make a prototype. Prototype means a working solution. It can be a physical model also. It can be a computer-based model also, whatever. Okay, then you test it. You take feedback from the test that yes, it is working fine. Then you implement it. This is the basic design thinking methodology. Okay, I will discuss all of this one by one. Before I go into that, discussing it one by one, design thinking, in design thinking, there is a term which is called as double diamond diagram. Right? Double diamond diagram, basically, there are two diamonds in this diagram. So first one is this rhombus kind of thing, and second one is this. So you start with the problem, and then you diverge your thinking. You do whatever material is available, you read about it. You do whatever possible type of research. You do market survey, you go and talk to people, you send them questionnaire, you ask them to fill up the questionnaire, you stand in a market area and ask random people about this problem, whether you have this problem, how do you think this problem can be solved, whatever you have to do, you do it, right? So you diverge yourself. Whatever solution is possible, you do that, right? You do your research in whichever way possible. Then you develop insight. From all that data, you try to exactly figure out what is the actual problem, what is the specific problem. So then you have to converge. So here you can see it is converging over here. So this is the first diamond. You are diverging into research, converging into problem. Then the next diamond, the second diamond, is the ideation. variation. So for solving that specific problem, whatever ideas are coming, you let them come. You welcome all those ideas. That okay, you give this idea, I will see, I will think about it. Once you have all those ideas, then you again converge. You again try to arrive at a specific solution. You make a prototype, or you make an algorithm, or whatever you want to make. Right? So this is the double diamond approach of design thinking. Okay, stages of design thinking: empathize, define, ideate, prototype, and implement. So these things I have told you, very general things only. It's not very technical. Empathize means you think from the other person's point of view. What is their actual problem? It is, you may feel that it is very easy to do, but it is very hard to imagine the problem from other people's point of view. Okay. Next is define. Define means you exactly specify what the problem is. Then you ideate, you generate whatever ideas are possible, you come up with those ideas, and then you make a prototype. You select from those ideas, or you combine those ideas together to build a solution, right? The prototype should be cheap to build, right? Does not mean you want to send a rocket to moon. So let us make a prototype rocket and send it to moon. That is not design thinking. Okay. Maybe you can check it out. You can scale it down. The distance from Earth to moon is this much. This much is the gravity variation. Can you simulate these conditions? And then let us make a rocket and then check it out. What is happening? Okay. And finally, you implement it. Whatever solution you have got, you finally implement it. So this double diamond approach I have discussed already. Benefits of design thinking: we can solve human problems. Organizations will become more innovative, and customer satisfaction and competitive advantage will be there. Okay. From industry, how industry they have embraced the design thinking. So Nike, we know Nike is basically a footwear company. They used to make shoes, but Nike has gone beyond the shoes. Right now, their shoes come embedded with sensors, which can be connected to your iWatch or your smartphone, which can actually measure how many kilometers you have walked, how many kilometers you have jogged, what is your present body weight, how much time duration you have jogged, and so on. Okay, so Nike has thought from human point of view that human beings don't only want to wear shoes, they want to also measure the miles, right? They want to have a proof that these many miles I have walked, so that they can take a screenshot and share it in their WhatsApp and show other people that I am doing very good exercise. I'm thinking about getting exercise, right? That kind of thing. Human-centered design. Nintendo is basically a gaming company. So other gaming companies, when they were improving their graphics or improving their power consumption, right? Nintendo took a different approach. They said, okay, game is fine, but we want to make our video games accessible to all the people. So they came up with intuitive wireless remote, the Wii's wireless remote, right? So that older people or even grandparents can also enjoy playing games, right? This is one of the human-centered approaches. Okay, Airbnb, they took a problem that how can homes feel like hotels? Because this was a common problem. People used to go to conferences, and there they used to struggle with finding a room. So Airbnb, they tied up with the homeowners, and they gave them the option that one room you can keep, which can be made available to the guests, and they can book it, and you will also get some money. Guests will also pay less compared to hotel, which was a win-win situation for all. Okay. So there are other examples also for design thinking. For example, the Starbucks, they made a payment through mobile payments app so that the lines can move faster. The Apple stores are designed around experiences. For example, when you visit an Apple store, I have never been to an Apple store. Maybe many of you could have been to an Apple store. So they're designed along the experiences. There will be a personal computing section. There will be a gaming section. There will be a fashion designing section, and so on. Okay, there are other examples also. So that was all about design thinking. Now, another thing which is intricately related to design thinking is called as critical thinking. Critical basically means analyzing the merits and faults of anything, right? We may feel that critical only means negative thing. We are criticizing something, right? But the actual definition of criticism is not that. Criticism means we are trying to bring out the merits and demerits of a particular thing, right? For example, if I say there is a movie, Saif Ali Khan starrer movie, Being Cyrus, many of you may have seen it. If not, highly recommended. Please go and see it. Okay, whenever you have time. Okay, it is available on YouTube. So the movie Being Cyrus, it was a critical success but a commercial failure. Okay, this statement, you may feel that critical only means negative. But when we say critical success, means the critics of the movie, they appreciated that movie. There may be many faults with that movie, but the cinematography or the story and the acting, the performances in the movie were highly critically appraised. There is Boman Iran in that movie, Dimple Kabadi in the movie, and of course Saif Ali Khan was there. There are other small roles also which I unfortunately don't remember. But the story is very, very good, very, very fine, very nice story. Okay. So when you have time, you can say it. What I mean is, critical does not only means negative thing, right? So criticism means you question everything. So this is a cartoon. So question everything. The person is saying why. He is saying why not, right? But this from this slide, I mean that don't do that. Don't question anything for the sake of questioning. Okay. There is something called as doing something for the sake of it. Just because I'm saying that question everything, don't say to me that, okay, sir, why you are giving this lecture, right? Then explaining that will become very, very difficult. Question with a purpose, question with a fair attitude, question with a positive outlook that I want to improve this thing. That's why I'm questioning. Okay. So what is non-critical thinking? Non-critical thinking is you do something and then later you realize that I have made a mistake, right? So these two diagrams, this person has cut this wire and this safe is going to fall on his head. Ironically, this is named as safe, but he is not safe from this safe. Okay. And this other person, this example is present in our literature also. Kalidas, very famous example. He cut out that same branch on which he was sitting. Okay, so that is example of a non-critical thinking. Okay, so what is critical thinking? Critical thinking, basically, you gather information, you assess that information, whatever information is provided, you assess it. But while doing the assessment, you should be logical in your outlook, you should be balanced, and you should be reflective. You should be fair. Reflective means you should think from other person's point of view also. And whatever conclusions you draw from that analysis of the information, that should be reasonable. Okay, I will give you some examples. Let us not go into what is critical thinking. So there is a particular web series, Patal Lok, available in Amazon Prime. Again, many of you may have seen it. Many of you may not have seen it. So there is a particular scene in which this particular character, Jaydev Elawat, he is Inspector Hathiram Chaudhary in that series. So he used to say something, and at the end of it, he used to say, "ऐसा शास्त्रों में लिखा है, लेकिन मैंने WhatsApp पे पढ़ा था." Okay. So present days, this has become a very big problem. WhatsApp, anything will come, and we feel that okay, this is correct only. I think, right? So fake news, which is very, very critical in present times. So in order to counter that, critical thinking is the only way to do that. But we are not going into that. We are not I am not addressing that fake news issue. What I mean to say that whenever you come up with a solution, or whenever you try to come up with a product, you have to think about it critically, right? So for doing critical thinking, there are certain criteria that I will discuss in the subsequent slides. For example, this particular person, he read in a book that in India only 60% households are having electricity. Now he's thinking, just few days back, government has said that in India, the 90% households, they are having electricity as per the national statistic. So which one is wrong? Whether government is giving wrong data or the book is wrong. Then he again saw the publishing date of the book. The book was published in 2007. So the statistics which are given in that book are out of date. This is an example of critical thinking. Just because we have read something at some place, we should not blindly trust it, right? We should apply our logic, we should apply our judgment, and then try to arrive at a logical conclusion. Okay. So critical thinking, these are the standards of critical thinking. I will tell you about it one by one. So for example, if anyone is giving you information, the information should be clear, right? If the information is not clear, you should not bother about that, right? Similarly, the solution which you are giving to a particular problem, it should be very, very clear. Okay. Second thing is accuracy. Just because something is clearly written does not mean this is accurate. For example, if you go to this particular link, this is a BBC UK website link. This image is given over here, given on that particular link, and they're saying that NASA released a picture of aliens saying hi, right? But this is not the news. If you read the news which is written over here, you will figure out that this image is wrong. Just because a person is giving you this image, giving you this reference, does not mean that this image is true. Okay. So just because something is clear does not mean it is accurate. Thirdly, precision. Just because something is clear and accurate does not mean it is precise. For example, if someone says we are expecting a lot of people in the marriage. So what is meant by lot of people? 20 people or 2000 people? If it is 20 people and 25 people, it is okay. 5 people you can manage. But 20 people and 2000 people, how do you manage it? Okay. So precision is also very important for any information or any solution. Okay. Next thing is relevance. Whatever information is being given, it may be very, very clear, very accurate, very precise, but may not be relevant. For example, in the exam, the hypothetical exam which we are having on Wednesday, right? If you on the hypothetical exam, you write that in the exam sheet, I have studied very hard, please make me pass. So this is a very clear statement. You may have studied very hard, accurate statement. I have studied for maybe 8 hours, so precise statement, but it is not relevant. Just because you have studied for 8 hours, you cannot be given an A grade, right? So that is not relevant. So an information, a solution should be relevant also. Okay. Next is depth. Whenever you give something, whenever you give a solution, whenever you give an information, it should have a background. Okay. Just plainly you cannot give any information to someone, right? I cannot tell you guys that welding is the best joining method available in all of the universe. So that is clear statement, accurate statement, right? Maybe not that much precise, but definitely lacking the depth. Okay. So I should tell you why welding is the best joining method. I should be able to justify, right? Of course, this statement itself is not very correct. I should not say any method is the best method, but I can say welding is the most versatile joining method. That will be a correct statement. And then for the depth, I should tell you there are around 30 variants of welding, and it can address lots of materials. It can do lots of types of joints and so on. Then my information will have a depth. So any information, any solution must always have a depth to it. Okay. Next is the breadth. Breadth means whenever we are considering an information, do we need to consider another point of view? For example, this is a very common meme which people share on WhatsApp, that Mughal period, they have made such stairs and roads. It used to last for an eternity. And now engineers are arriving and they're doing online classes and they're making roads which are having holes, right? So when you make this statement, when you curse today's engineers, which I feel very bad because I am also an engineer and many of you are training to be engineers. So that it is not fair. Right? Earlier times, the population was not that much. Earlier times, heavy vehicles, the weight of the vehicles were also not that much. Okay. Statement may be somewhat correct also. Why to blame only the engineers? Engineers are not making sure that we are getting bad materials for the roads, right? Maybe some other people, they are taking some cuts on that. So they are using bad materials for the roads and so on, right? So before you give a judgment, before you make a conclusion about something, you should try to consider other person's point of view also. Most important thing for critical thinking is logic. If someone says anything, it should make sense. For example, if Abraham Lincoln says, don't believe the internet. So it is correct, it is clear, it is accurate, it has a depth, it has a relevance. But can Abraham Lincoln ever say it? Definitely no. Internet was not invented by the time Abraham Lincoln died. So just because this picture is next to a particular quotation does not mean that you should think that Abraham Lincoln said this. Okay. So you should apply your logic. Okay. Fairness. This is a common thing which you may have also. I try to avoid it in lectures. That many times professors say you have read about it in your second semester, so I will not do this. I will skip this portion. Right. So when a professor says like this, we are discounting your feelings. You may not have read about it also. Yesterday I was telling people about my second year students, fourth semester students about weld metallurgy. So I told them, okay, you guys know about metallurgy. I will tell you about epitaxial solidification. Then they said, sir, we don't know solidification, right? So that is, if I say that I will skip this because you have done it, then I am not being fair, right? So, but if I say so and the students remain silent, then they are also not being fair. They won't say anything to me. They won't tell me that, sir, we have not done solidification. Later they will tell, sir ne to padhaya nahi, sir have not taught us anything. He assumed that we know about metallurgy, we did not know about metallurgy. So then the students are also not being fair. So whenever you have an information, whenever you have to make a decision, you should be fair about it, right? You should try to consider all the people's point of view. Okay, many students, they won't study whole semester, and one night before the exam they will say, I don't get it, I am not understanding anything, right? So again, he's not being fair. If you are not getting something, you should tell your teacher. If he does not explain it once, tell it twice, thrice, still he is not explaining, he's getting angry, then you can say, okay, my teacher is not teaching me. Okay, but you should give him a chance. You should be fair in your judgment before you make the judgment. Okay. Similarly, whenever you are giving a solution, the solution may be very good for you, right? And you may feel that I have given such a good solution, why that person is not accepting it? It is not fair. But no, you are the one which is being unfair. Who is being unfair? Okay, you should try to think from the other person's point of view, right? If you have to be fair, you have to be critical about yourself. Being critical about own decisions or own personality is the most difficult thing to do. We can very easily criticize others, but we cannot criticize ourselves. So why critical thinking is so difficult that I am spending so much time on, right? Because in order to do critical thinking, we have to see things from a questioner's point of view. We have to question everything. While doing so, sometimes it may happen that we may not know the question to something, right? If I question myself a lot, if I think what is epitaxial solidification, then what is epitaxial, right? Why it is called as epitaxial, what is the reason behind it, then I may have to accept that I do not know about it. Doing it is the biggest hurdle for us, right? People will go to any lengths to avoid questions. People are scared of questions. People are more scared of questioning oneself, right? We are very scared to admit that we do not know. But again, this is another quote from Richard Feynman. As I said, he is my favorite scientist, that there is no shame in not knowing, right? Whenever if you want to do entrepreneurship, you want to solve a problem, you admit that we don't know the solution, right? We will find out the solution, right? Only shame is to pretend that we know everything. That is the worst thing that you can do ever, not just as a student, even as a teacher, even when you become 80 years old, right? If you say that I am 80 years old, when the dunya dekh liya, I know everything. So that is very, very shameful. You can never know everything. Okay? Admit it so that you can be very free to think critically. Thinking critically is difficult because many times our emotions comes into picture. So this is again another famous line from the Godfather movie, that whenever you are making any plans, do not let emotions enter into those plans. Never hate your enemies. If you hate your enemies, the emotions will be, your judgment will, your emotions will overtake your judgment. For example, while playing badminton, if I get very angry and if I get a very good shuttle, I can smash it, right? So if I'm very angry when I was young, if I'm very angry, I try to smash it into the other person's body. And many times in doing so, the shuttle used to go out of court. So it is not helpful for me. I lose that point. I should have won that point, right? But I lost it, right? So never do that. Never be angry. Never hate anything. Never be overly critical of anything. See problem as a problem. Try to come up with a solution. If the solution is not acceptable, try to come up with another solution. Do not judge. If it is not acceptable, okay, fine. I will try to make it more acceptable. That kind of thing. Okay. So how do you think critically? You try to ask these questions to that particular information. That who has given you that information? Was that a fact or was it an opinion? Was it said in public or private? When was it said? Right? Why did they say it? How did they give that information? So these are good indicators whether the information is reliable or not. So in a classroom, if you are attending classes or if you are teaching classes also, this is as much for you as much for me also, that critical thinking must be made a habit, right? Whatever is being discussed, we should discuss it in much more detail. We should provide some evidences. You should, think about it more. You should come up with more questions. Right? Develop that mindset that if someone is asking a question from you, does not mean that he is critical of you. He wants to prove that you don't know anything. If a professor is asking you to repeat what he has said, it does not mean he wants to embarrass you. He wants to make sure that you have been paying attention. Similarly, if you are asking questions to me, does not mean that you want to prove that I don't know anything, right? You want to clear your doubts. So that's how. So this is again more on the same lines. I am going a bit faster because I've got roughly 10 minutes left. So benefits of critical thinking: it encourages curiosity, creativity, problem solving ability, and it fosters independence. It is a skill for life, not just learning. So another movie by it was John Keating, which was played by Robin Williams, a movie called Dead Poets Society. So there was a line: the idea of education is to think for yourself. You have to learn it. You have to learn how to think, right? You should not just remember what others have told you and just repeat that. That is not education. That is just memorizing stuff, right? The idea of reading is not memorizing. The idea of reading is to develop your thinking, expand your thinking. Okay. The last portion of our PPT is innovation. I will try to go a bit fast now. So innovation, basically doing something new. For example, soap tablet. Soaps are available since quite long, since the beginning of this century, maybe beginning of 19th century, maybe. Okay, but the problem was, if you are traveling, then carrying that soap with you is quite difficult. So people came up with this solution, that same concept, but packaged in a different manner in order to address a particular problem. That is the crux behind innovation. Okay, one example is Google Docs. So especially nowadays, since online lectures are there, so students can make a Google Doc and share it amongst their classmates. And during the lecture, they can take live notes, right? Single person does not have to take continuous notes, because it is not possible for him also to capture all the stuff continuously for 1 hour. So it can be shared. Obviously, nowadays we have got more memory, so we record the whole lecture. That is also one way of doing it. Okay, why are we concerned about innovation? We are concerned about innovation because innovation we have to do. Change is constant, change is inevitable. Industries will shift its nature, right? Industry 1.0, around 1780s, first industrial revolution came. It was mostly based on steam and mechanized power. Around 1870s, right, around 1 century later, industry 2.0 came, in which some concepts regarding mass production, division of labor, and those things, the scientific theory, administrative theory, those things came. Around 1960s, 1970s, automation and usage of computers entered into the industry. Nowadays, we are talking about industry 4.0. So industry has changed throughout the years. And one only way of keeping up with the changes is to keep on innovating, keep on inventing. There is a subtle difference between invention and innovation. We will look into it. Why are we concerned about innovation? Innovation allows us to discover new markets, allows us to react to problems even before they are discovered, right? It allows us to conform to the regulations. We can follow the regulations or the guidelines or the rules. For example, in the movie Gangajal, you may have seen that tendering was going on, and the goons or the local bad people, they came to the place and they said that this tendering is ours. Our bid will be taken, right? So that was physical tendering process, and this was prevalent in rural parts of UP and Bihar also, right? But nowadays we have online tendering. Everything has to be done online. Everything is on record. All the people which are delegated by government, they are part of the process. So there are no chances of violating the laws. Okay. Even finer picture, if we do innovation, we can reduce the stress on the environment. We can reduce the material consumption, improve the production process, right? For example, through innovation, we can develop machines which can improve the rate of production. For example, because of innovation only, we came up with some CNC systems. And then once CNC was established, we established CNC milling, CNC drilling, and so on, right? Once we figured out a way to communicate with the machines, we used it for different applications. Okay, this is one example. I'm not discussing all of these because I've got 5 more minutes left. I'll try to finish. Okay. So as I said, this is first time maybe you are reading about innovation in this much detail, but this is not the first time you have done innovation. One of the earliest time when we did innovation without even knowing it was this pen fight which we used to have in schools. Okay, disclaimer, we should not have pen fights. Okay, this is bad. Now I can say it because now I know. But that time when in class 9th around, we used to have these pen fights. So same, very simple idea. One by one, you put the pens onto the table and then one by one you strike each other. The last pen standing on the table, the last pen laying on the table wins. Okay, so we used to have matches against section. So 4 people from our section, section G, versus 4 people from section E. So before these 4 people are selected from a particular section, we used to have intersection matches. Intra-section matches means all the section G people used to play, and then 4 top players used to play in the final. Okay, it may sound very big, but it was not. We were kids that time, so it was a big thing for us. So we played the match, and the thing was, only pens are needed. Only pens are allowed. Okay, pens are allowed. One student did what? He took out the refill. He filled in iron nails inside his pen, and then he again put the caps and everything. So obviously his pen was heavy. You strike that pen, your pen will bounce off from his pen, right? So we found out section E guy was doing it. Ours was section G. We told him that this is cheating. No, it is pen only. So okay, then we realized, okay, pen only. Then what we did the same thing. We put nails, but we tied 2-3 pens together using a rubber band, and then we put it. Because of the rubber band, more grip also. 3 pens, heavier also. Now they are saying, you said pens only. So yes, these are pens only. You never said that we cannot tie up more pens together. So we tied 3 pens. Then okay, no, only 1 pen allowed. Okay, that we did. Now we were very angry. So okay, this time, rather than putting pen, we put a compass inside. If you have ever played this game, you will know that putting pen against compass is very, very difficult. You cannot hit a compass because the center of gravity of compass is very, very low. You cannot hit it very, very nicely. Now they are objecting, compass is not a pen. So we said, yes, using compass, you can write on desks. You can scribe onto the wood. So as I said, we were kids that time. So we did not know, but these are all parts of innovation, right? There is a very famous YouTube channel, RoboWars. There used to be programs on it also. So people used to make robots within the particular specifications, and there used to be wars among, there used to be fights amongst the robots. Okay, so this was our RoboWars on a much simpler scale. Okay, so even though we did not know what is meant by innovation, we used to do it. Okay, innovative design or innovation design is using innovation to come up with a new product or a new way of doing things. Okay, I want to skip these things. This I have told you already that desirability, feasibility, and viability. If you have to do innovation, your innovation should be a mix of all these 3 things together. Right? It should have all these 3 features. I want to tell you about this difference between invention and innovation. So wheel was an invention, but using that wheel, coming up with cars and the complete automobile sector, that is an innovation. Splitting the atom to release energy, this was an invention, but using that released energy for atomic bombs or atomic power plants, that is an invention. Using light sensitive compounds for photography, that was finding out that silver compounds are light sensitive, that is invention. Using it for photography and films and recording stuff, that is innovation. Transferring images over the internet, this is an invention. How can we code a particular signal and then transmit it over long distance? Because of this, we are having this presentation. Today's presentation is an innovation. We cannot have it offline. We cannot have it face to face. So I am transmitting signals from Durgapur, and you are receiving it over your location, and it is being broadcasted through a monitor and whatnot. Right? That is innovation. Okay. How to innovate? You try something, you fail. Once you try something, first attempt you may not succeed. You learn from your failure and then you repeat it. Okay. So there are basically 4 types of innovation. First one is called as incremental and sustaining innovation. This is the most basic type. For example, earlier the movement from one place to another or the transportation was done using animal carriages. Okay. So we used to make small improvement. We will provide a hatch at the top to shield from the sun, right? We will use 2 oxes in place of 1 to make it faster. So that was called as incremental but sustaining. Next is radical but sustaining. We are still dealing with carriages, but they came up with horse-driven carriages. This is an example of innovation. Radical, sustaining innovation. Still dealing with carriages, but rather than using ox or donkeys, we are using horses so that my carriage is moving very, very fast. Okay. Third type of innovation is incremental disruptive. Incremental disruptive means animals are getting tired, right? But machines don't get tired. Can we make our carriage into a machine? So that is, we are still thinking about carriages only. We are still thinking about land transport only, but we have completely disrupted that field. This is called as incremental disruptive innovation. Right? We are still thinking about land transport, but we have completely disrupted it. Oxes, donkeys, horses can never compete with machines. Okay, so this is disruptive. Radical disruptive innovation means aviation. Can a carriage fly? So we have disrupted that field and we have come up with something entirely new. Right? We are thinking about flying. So that was the state of art. Then people thought, can we fly into space? Then that was okay. Then can we land at moon? That was okay. Now can we go to Mars? That also we have done. Can we inhabit Mars? That is the state of art right now. People are working on that. And then can we go beyond Mars? That much good that we go beyond Mars. Okay. So I want to skip all these things because time is over actually. So some examples I wanted to tell, but these are the examples of product innovation, that electric vehicle and wearable electronics, or the AirPods, the Alexa system, that voice operated search. These are all examples of innovation. Okay, product based innovation. Some businesses also, they have got some innovative drinks which are rich sugar. Because of sugar, you will get high, you will feel energetic, you will dance, you will get more thirsty, and the discotheque or the soft drinks, you will get more. If you go to a casino, these came from the Ocean's 13 movie. If you go to a casino, the casino floors are tilted, so that going out is, when you go out, not easy as coming in is. So you cannot very easily. Okay. So if you go to a shopping mall and at the time of checkout, there are not sweets, so many chocolates or condiments I kept over there, and you may feel chocolates from there. So this is a bad habit. Whenever I go shopping, if while checking out, if I see some chocolate, I will feel tempted. Let me buy this chocolate. Okay, so also well that this is a strategy, but still I cannot help myself. Okay, design example, some podcast, they can we can increase the speed of the playback. You can do it in YouTube also. Okay, this is the design innovation for the Coca-Cola bottle, that we are coming up with different designs of the Coca-Cola bottle. Okay, with time. So this design was prevalent early 1900s, not early 1900s, 1920s, 30s maybe. When Coca-Cola were, but this aluminum can design is mostly new. And some other examples, MP3 player, computers have evolved a lot over time. Earliest computer was very, very big, which was kept in a complete basement of the Harvard laboratories. Okay, the complete full basement was needed, and it used to run very, very slow. There is a story that this is a fact, that the computer which was used to send the first moon mission, it had a memory of maybe 64 megabytes, 64 MB. And right now this laptop which I am having is having 8 GB memory. Some of you are using smartphones. Before the start of the lecture, smartphones are having minimum 4 GB memory. Okay, many times 8 GB memory also. So you can imagine how much of progress has been made. Okay, our mobiles, it has got an auto rotate feature, it has got a timer feature, and so many other examples. Okay, YouTube, I have already told you that loop, playback speed, and rotation, these features are there. So innovation, it has products and services, improves quality of life, reduce wastes. Okay, civilizations without innovation, they are stagnant, and with innovation, civilizations are moving forward. So these stills are taken from the Squid Games, which is a last year the series became fairly popular. So this is a light-hearted thing, not technical. Okay, this is definitely not a comment on old people. Okay, don't make it in that manner. Okay, one of my students said, "Sir, you have used a old guy image. What do you mean by it?" I said, "No, don't think too much. इतना भी critical thinking मत कर देना." ठीक है. So, okay, maybe I'll stop here because I'm already over 5 minutes. If you guys have anything to ask or any queries are there, we can have it now. Yeah. Professor Abhinandan, I will stop here because
Okay,
if anyone has any questions, maybe they can ask now. I'm already over by 5 minutes.
No, sir, it's okay, sir. No issues. Any of the students have any question?
Okay, anyone has got any? Please go ahead. You guys are in classrooms, so it was a happy sighting for me. But if you have any questions, any queries, please go ahead. As I've discussed, no, feedback is very important and questioning is very important. So this is the point of time where you should question whatever I've said and give me your opinion, your thoughts, how it can be improved, how this presentation can be improved, and so on.
Anyone from the smart classroom or seminar hall? I think, sir, there are no questions, or there may be they are little bit shy to ask in a public forum.
Okay. Okay, fine. If they're shy, how can I help? But please don't be shy. You guys can tell me if at all anything you want to discuss. Please go ahead. Don't be shy. Shall I switch on my camera? You will feel more comfortable speaking to a face rather than a signal.
Lipika ma'am, can you please unmute the mic from the smart classroom?
Yeah, now my face is visible. Okay, so if anyone wants to ask anything, please go ahead. Don't be shy. You guys all are fine? All are okay? When did you guys join back to the campus? It's been a while, or recently only you have returned back to campus? I could hear yes, sir, because all of you said together, but maybe one of you can answer. Okay, it's your wish. You may not answer also, fine. But it's good. You guys be safe. Always, wear the masks and everything, and follow the protocols. Whatever college is saying, right? Don't mess it up. Don't let any one of you get infected. Then we. Okay, sir. I think there are no questions because they don't want to ask anything. So,
thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, I wish you could have asked, but okay. As sir said, they may be feeling shy. Maybe if we can have this session in person in future, if I can ever come to your college, maybe they will ask. Hopefully.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir, for giving us your precious time and motivating our students on the path of innovation and different thinking skills to be created from the very young age. As innovation is not an age factor, it should be from the younger ages, so that if we get enough time to innovate or design something new. So thank you, sir. Thank you again from Sri Ramakrishna Institute on the behalf of our college. We thank you for your time and
thank you, sir, for the invitation. Thank you for having me. And it was conducted in a very nice fashion. Thank you for having me. Shall I end this session from my side, sir? Can I leave?
Oh, okay, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Okay. All of you, please take care. Bye.
আচ্ছা, স্মার্ট ক্লাসরুমে যারা রয়েছে ওখানেই থাকো, আমাদের আরো কিছু সেশন আছে, ঠিক আছে?